Do whatever with it, right?
Yeah.
What's this one? Oh, it's not the emotions.
I'm going. Good.
One, two.
Okay, we'll call to order and welcome you to the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. It is it is July 12th, 2022, and it is 6:30 p.m. and we're meeting in the council chambers of West Valley City Hall. We have all members except Councilman Fitzumanu who are present and he is excused. We'll now have our opening ceremony. Would you please stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance with me?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll now take the minutes of July 5th, 2022. I'll turn it to the council for discussion or a motion on the minutes.
I move for approval of our July 5th minutes.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those are approved. Thank you. We will now have our public comment period. Our comment period is limited to 30 minutes. Any person wishing to speak should come to the microphone and not take more than 5 minutes. Upon being recognized by the mayor, give your name and address if you have not signed in, otherwise just your name. Each person will be allowed to speak once, and please direct your comments to the mayor. It is not a time for discussion. It is a time for you to voice your concerns. All right. We will now start with speaker one.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good to see that almost everybody's in attendance. I expected a big Zoom attendance today, so thank you. Starting off with my semi-parking, 3920 West, that's the one past Vanguard. Almost every single night, there's one parked on that street, and in 5400 West, it is there now at 5:30. I called Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, and there has not been a ticket put on it yet. So 3 days, and they're supposed to be working till like 7 o'clock. No tickets. It makes me kind of wonder why tickets aren't being put on it. 3865 and 5600 corner right there by Ascent Academy on the opposite side. Repeat offender of code enforcement. Lots of accumulation of solid waste, which is branches, weeds, trash, everything. 2 different places on that corner lot. A lot of people go past it. It looks terrible. Like I said, this is a repeat offender. It's a known house. I believe it's a rental, but they need to stay on top of it. It looks really, really bad. all along 5600. All of those, the back of the houses along the fences there. Well, I can't say all of them because 2 of them mowed behind them, but the property owners, I believe, are responsible to take care of those, and only 2 of them, and weeds are about 4 feet high. You know, somebody throws a cigarette out there, could have a little fire. Once again, it's a very popular traveled road in our city. Skate jam. It was good to see it happen. The DJ out there, every time he comes out, he's fabulous. But as an overall event, it was a flop. Reason why it was a flop, no advertising. They didn't put any signs out. I talked to Travis. Travis is the one who I've talked to you about, who cleans the park every day. He was part of getting the skate park there. They knew nothing about it. If he would have known about it, he could have promoted it more. It started with 25 people when it started, and the max was 40. Like I said, the music was great. What was going on was great, but we could have had a better attendance with better planning and maybe, you know, a little bit more competency in the park and rec people. You know, if you're going to plan something like that, put a couple signs up. The signs aren't expensive. Craig gets them. Put them around the skate park. Nobody knew about the jam going on until all of a sudden music is being set up. So, West Valley, not Salt Lake. You're going to hear me say that after every single event. You guys smile because you go to the events and you hear that. A couple of weeks ago, you talked about in the study meeting, how can we have more West Valley City pride? It starts right there. This should be an easy fix with the management of the Maverick Center or the amphitheater, letting the artists or their promotion people know you're in West Valley City, not Salt Lake. I'm going to keep bringing it up. Last week or the week before, you talked about audit teams. I was shocked that the audits has been done for a decade by the same company. In retail, we would never, every 6 months, we had a different audit team come in. Yes, they don't know all the ins and outs, but that's actually good because they catch things. I honestly don't believe that the bonding agent knew that it's 10 years, you know, that they've been doing or more. Because, and like I said, in regular business, that's not good to have the same company doing, even though they have different people. And I think you guys looking into possibly switching it, it's something that needs to be done. 5-foot parking rule. It needs to be enforced again. Flags, half staff. Governor ordered it on Friday. None of the city flags. We're the only ones were at half staff. It was supposed to be from 4th of July all the way through Sunday. All the city flags were at full staff the whole time. I'm trying to run. I only got a few seconds. Partners in the Parks happening tonight. Did any of you guys know about it? I didn't know until an hour ago when Neighborhood Services posted. Once again, another park event. No communication, no planning, no design. How many people are going to get there? It's in my hometown. It's at Parkway Park. I think they would have let us know about it. That's all the time I have.
Okay, thank you. Yep, speaker 2.
Daryl Curtis, 3860 South Marcia Drive, West Valley City, Utah. Last week at your study meeting, you talked about a $191,000 grant, and you talked about putting that for a ninja park at 41st South and 60th West, I believe. And just some concerns over that area. That's right there in my neighborhood, and just concerned about the traffic. 60th West is notorious for people speeding and going down there. There's no sidewalks on part of 60th West. I'd rather see you put sidewalks in than another park. Right across the street from that is a park. I don't know how well that park is used. And something like this, a ninja park would be, I think, better at Centennial Park, where there's lots of parking. It can attract more people would be able to use it and so forth. So I'm just a little concerned that, and I don't know if there would be any public comment or anything like that in the future about that particular park, because it's not on your agenda tonight. So I didn't see that. But it's just a concern that we're putting a park where there's already a park across the street. And just wondering if there's something that can be done to make it put it in an area where it can be really utilized. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Was there anyone else that wished to speak that didn't have a chance to sign up? If you'd give us your name and address when you come to the mic, thank you.
Miles Wynn, 2766 West, 2890 South, 84119. Just wanted to share my experience with trying to go through the proper motions on talking about trash ordinance. I know last week I kind of mentioned that as far as like a result of the fireworks and some of my neighbors having overflow trash. So I reached out to speak with the ordinance officer. We kind of played a little bit of phone tag, and today I finally heard back from them, and they told me that they would be coming out to take a look today. My trash pickup is on Monday, so if they come today, there's nothing really to see. And his response to that was that he can't really drop everything and come on the proper day, and that, you know, it just is what it is. Then he gave me the number of somebody that I think works with ACE, I guess, and I kind of relayed my concerns to him about the overflow. And he continued, and then he told me that if the trashers of the lids are open, the trash companies aren't even supposed to take them. So I feel like that's kind of like a compound issue. Like if they don't take them, well, then they overflow even more. And the reason that I was reaching out to him in general was because when ACE had come on Monday to pick up the trash, they had dumped it into their trash cans, and all the loose trash goes all over the street, and they just drive off. They don't bother picking it up, but they have the time to get out of their truck to take pictures of my empty can to confirm it's actually empty, because I have had some issues where I've had to call and have them come back out and, you know, confirm that there was stuff that got stuck in the bottom or what have you. So just kind of wanted to share that experience of, you know, the ordinance officer being helpful, but not so helpful. And then again, the trash pickup just being kind of, you know, again, kind of a compound issue if they end up leaving those filled, which luckily they're not. The other thing that I wanted to mention, which I kind of forgot about when I was here last week, is a speed study on my block, if that's at all possible. I had reached out about that, and they sent me some forms to speak with my neighbors about. I don't really know a lot of my neighbors, and I don't necessarily have the time to go get 10 signatures. And so I was just curious if maybe something could be done about that without going through those motions. I just have people that are speeding up and down the block consistently. I and other people have pets, kids, stuff like that. One of my neighbors is kind of part of the problem, so I necessarily don't want to go to them to get a speed study signature. And then the last thing I had, if my phone would work here, is also, I didn't realize this when I spoke last week, that we have 2 4th of Julys, Pioneer Day and 4th of July. And so like I mentioned last time about the noise ordinance, if fireworks fall on a Monday, if just some consideration can be taken into that as far as making the noise ordinance a reasonable time and not midnight when the workday follows. But yeah, those are the 3 things I had.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
All right, is there anyone else that would like to speak? Please give us your name and address at the mic.
Mike Markham, 3008 Alice Way. Just a quick question, and I don't know who can answer this, but Jim and I have been talking. I know that's a scary thought. But I brought up a couple of times, and so is Jim, on the parking violations. If they get 2 violations within a 30-day period, they don't get the discount and so on. I don't know that anything can be done. Is there an ordinance or a code or something that says we can't have graduated fines? You know, can we do that? I think that would handle some of the problems, because a lot of these are business vehicles that they bring home from work because they get a company car like a lot of the West Valley people do. But if these big trucks started getting citations on them, plumbing trucks, the guys that drive their plumbing truck home, they may be on call, different things like that. If they started taking home, you know, $125 tickets, the boss might rethink sending that vehicle home with them or making sure they can get them in the driveway. And within all of our codes, do we have anything about construction vehicles being parked? I mean, they're parked on the driveway, in the gravel, that sort of thing. Do we have a code or anything about construction vehicles being parked like that? Does anybody know? I don't know. Then my final comment is kind of directed at the council because of some of the problems that we're having in our neighborhoods with people being slow to react to ordinance enforcement. I hopefully, Scott, you've all been out in your neighborhoods campaigning as hard to get people to clean their yards as you did to get elected. Because you made an agreement, I guess, with the city and say if you took the job, you'd do something. So I think something needs to be done. I know Don has some neighbors that are absolutely horrible that I think if somebody, you know, while you're campaigning, you could say, hey, your yard looks like crap. Maybe we could do something here. Maybe we could work together. Let us know. But I think, I don't know how many council people go out in their districts once they're elected. I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see if you're not prepared to do the job, don't take it. You know what the job is when you apply for it. You know, a lot of people want a job. So if we could just get more people on board within this, I know Nicole here, she's working very hard trying to get the neighborhood program up and running and working and making things happen. But, you know, and I know things don't happen overnight, but we've been working on this problem now for what, 10 years? And it's like I've continued to say, money talks. If we fine them, we make the fine stick. We can't go to Jody and let the people negotiate their fine down. The fine is what the fine is. You buy a carton of milk, you don't go up to the cashier and negotiate price. You pay the price. So money talks. Thanks.
Thank you. Was there anyone else that wishes to speak? And Ms. Kamic, is there anyone online?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll turn time. Ms. Cottle, did you have any comments for this evening?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. To the council, any comments?
Got a couple.
Okay.
Kind of some of these correlate with the public comments. Today I got my West Valley City utility bill. And in that bill is a flyer of all the things happening in July. And July is almost half over. So half of it is not really usable. So maybe we can shift that 15 days so we get half of July and half of August if the bill's going to come out midway through the month. Or maybe it's a month ahead and we send out what's going to happen in August in July so that it's more effective. So that's one. My friends and neighbors that live close that told me about our traffic issue at the crosswalk of 4100 South Acord. There's lights there, flashing lights. It doesn't seem to work because people are still, nobody's stopping for the pedestrians. And they told me, so this is secondhand, that even one of West Valley's finest didn't stop. So I don't know what we can do. I know the signal up on 47th and about the same west, it works better. I don't know if it's lower, if the lights are lower or what, but there's something we can do there. And then code enforcement is a big issue right now. I think things are really in my neighborhood out of hand. And I've talked to city manager about this, and you know, it's not really my job to go take pictures and give out notices, but if I need to, I will. You can go from Benview to my street. I run that a couple of times a week. Benview to Pasquay, and there's only two houses along there that
that don't have code issues. The other 6 or 8 do, that are pretty major, piles of stuff that are just in the front yard. Bricks and weeds growing up among them. It's kind of, I think that's all I have for now.
Okay.
Done.
Yes, Mr. Christensen.
Scott, the signal on Acord is being updated. And
Great.
Public Works is working on getting a bigger box in there to handle a different type of signal that has proven in the past in the city to be more effective.
Great. Thanks.
So
Tom.
we are working on it. And just to respond to Mr. Markham, my neighbor has been cited several times, abated several times, and is now in the court system. So there's not a whole lot I can do about that.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, thank you. We will now go to our public hearings. We have application ZT for 2022, and I'll turn it to Ms. Cottle.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request for a zone text change, regarding the minimum area required for shopping centers in the land use section of our code. As you'll recall, the current requirement is 1 acre. And the request is to go from that 1 acre to 3/4 of 1 acre to allow for what would be an L shape or strip type commercial use on those smaller pieces of property.
Okay, thank you. And as I've noted before, we go over all of the items on the agenda a week prior. So everyone's had chances to get their questions answered. So if it looks like it goes fast, it's because we've taken the time to study it already. So are there any comments ahead of time from the council? All right, we will now open the public hearing to take public input on application ZT for 2022. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing and turn it over to the council for comments or a motion. And the action item is ordinance 22-27, which amends 2 different sections in section 7.
Mayor, excuse me. May I ask Steve Patrick a couple of questions before we vote for this one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Steve's not with us today. He's out of the office, but I can answer some of those questions, or Jerry.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
Nicole, we also have Jody online as well.
That's right.
Oh,
Jody.
okay, good.
Jody should be the one that we ask for those answers.
So this one in 2017, we had, before that, we had the half acre for shopping center. So but 2017, we changed that half to 1 acre, correct, Nico? All right. Of course, I understand all this, but I just want to put in the record for the landlord, the people out there, they have some kind of documentation. So when they come back, they can look up for this information. So 2017 up to today, and we need to have 1 acre to have shopping center, correct? Yeah. And tonight we bring it back to 0.75, so we can have 1 acre. I mean, 1 shopping center. So in the item number 687, explain and that part about the shopping center. Can you elaborate a little bit? Only 3 lines there, so maybe you can elaborate that, and then the people out there, they can listen and can, or maybe you can put on record for them. 2 units, you said 2 retail establishments turn into, can you explain a little bit about that to people out there, please?
By your number reference, did you mean line 687?
Yeah, line
Oh, yes.
687.
Yes, Jody, if you'd please address that, what
Yeah.
the meaning of line 687 is. Thank you.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so that is just further clarification in the definition. And so it currently says a group of retail uses or group of uses. And so it's just further defining what group means. And so that's why it says 3 or more tenants and then defines 2 as being retail.
Okay, thank you so much. So that's my motion right now is I will approve the ordinance 22-27.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. And will anybody have any other comments? Okay, we'll turn-
I have a comment. I just remember that in
Okay,
in
thank you.
2017, when we changed the ordinance, we were concerned about the number of strip malls that we were getting, especially on Redwood Road and maybe 3500 South. And we didn't want to become a city of strip malls and have a greater variety of commercial properties. And I think that's served us well with this restriction. And I'm not so anxious to change that, to make the restrictions smaller so that we can have more strip malls. I think we have a lot already. And so that's why I'm going to vote no for this.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other comments?
Yeah, I have a comment,
Okay,
maybe
Mr. Hume?
respond back to Councilman Lasnofel. Our city is a very unique city. One of the oldest city, also is very unique city here in our valley here. You can see that right now is the population minority is the majority in this city. And the demand is very high. If you put one big building for a shopping center, one building, for example, like a grocery store, only thing you can build, you're not going to build 4 or 5 units, and that's going to cost a lot of money for the owner run that business. The square footage, if you run into like 10,000 square foot for that grocery store, it's going to cost you at least $10,000 for the rent, and you have to hire 5 employees to run that business. People, they don't have that money to do so. If you go out there and you talk to people, they don't have money to do that, but they can run a business, a grocery store, 1,500 square feet, the rent $2,500 a month, and they can run it by themselves. That saves them a lot of money. And also they provide good and products to the citizen here in our city. And that reason why we need to have reduced that the number so can have a shopping center so they can have units to do that. They don't have that big budgets. They cannot afford to go out and rent over $10,000 per month and hire 5 employees to do that. They cannot do that. And that I think this one will work well. And in the future, we'll have a lot of people out there, the citizen in our city, they can go to a place here and there, they can shop what they want to, and they open the business, they can have a budget to do so. Otherwise, they don't have a budget to run the business.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll turn it to Ms. Kamick for a roll call vote.
Councilman Nordfelt,
No.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes by majority.
Okay, thank you. We will now move to our ordinances and we'll go to ordinance 2228. Ms. Cottle?
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance is a cleanup from the section of state law that discusses the impact, the disposition of animals. So this relates to how long an animal must be held prior to its disposition. Our code says 3 years and the state law says 5 years. So we want to be in compliance. We've been in compliance in practice.
Days or years?
Sorry. not years.
Yes,
I
thank you.
apologize.
I'm gonna
That'll
say,
that'll be days.
I'll die of old age.
That would be a long time.
Yes.
Thank you. 3 days or 5 business days, 3 business days versus 5 business days. The state law says 5 business days. So we've been in compliance in practice. We want our codes to reflect the accurate numbers as a cleanup item. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or
Really glad it's not 5 years.
me too?
We wouldn't have room in the shelters.
All right, so I'll turn it to the council for discussion or a motion.
Motion to approve 2228, ordinance 2228.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll turn it to Ms. Kamic for a vote.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We will now move on to our resolutions. We have resolution 22-120. Ms. Cottle?
Thank you, Mayor. This authorizes the city to enter into an agreement with an entity called Wilson and Company for an environmental study along Lancer Way. We have been the good recipients of some federal surface transportation program funds for that facility. And we, as per requirement for those funds, need to complete this environmental study. So Wilson and Company is the selected group, and we would request approval from the council for that.
Okay, thank you. I will now turn it to the council for comments or a motion.
I would move for approval of resolution 22-120.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further comments? Seeing none, I'll turn it to Ms. Kamic for a vote.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We will now go to resolution 22-121. Ms. Cottle?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution authorizing the city to accept some grant funds. You heard a bit of comment on that tonight. So I wanted to make sure and go through this. This grant funding amount is through the Utah Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity, awarded in the amount of $191,565 for, as you heard, an obstacle course, training course. And this Westview Park is just adjacent to the Salt Lake Canal Trail System. And so part of the completion of that trail system and kind of to be at the hub or end of that trail system was the thinking for this facility. So I wanted to make sure that the council was aware of that. So this resolution is required by the grant providers, simply authorizes us to accept the grant funds and put them to this particular use.
Okay, thank you. I will turn it to the council for comments or a motion.
I would just the public comment, and then thinking about this, it would be nice in theory right now, as I'm thinking about it, to know about what grants we're applying for, maybe for Parks and Rec, so that we could say, you know what, maybe we would like to have that at Centennial or this other park. Or maybe we want to use those grant funds, not for a ninja park, but for another type of amenity in our parks. Just a thought. I don't know if there's any other comments. I'm done. I guess I'm done.
Time's up.
But if there's other comments from the council of, I don't want to get deep into the weeds with what staff does, but if we can give some guidance and some feedback of what we think would be best in some of those aspects, I think it would be helpful, especially when we get comments from our citizens that have concerns and desires that may differ from staff.
Thank you.
We have been discussing this for months. The property came available last year.
So have I been asleep?
No.
For the last 6 months?
No,
'Cause
but
it's the first time I've heard about this grant, so.
yeah, well, the grant has just come out, but we've been discussing the property and how to develop it and tie it in with Westview Park for months.
Maybe even years, yeah.
Yeah, maybe even years.
This this campus will be kind of an activity center because it's right there on the trail.
Yeah.
And it's not a new park as Mr. Curtis talked about. It's really just an extension of the campus of Westview Park.
Yeah. And I'm good with where we're putting it. It just made me think that.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we get an opportunity to give input when we have those grant applications.
And possibly strategic plan would be a good time to do that. So,
Just as an aside, I got a text from a citizen this week asking what was going on down on the UCCC campus. And I had to admit, I didn't know. So I texted in here and found out they're building the Pioneer Crossing Park there, which we approved again
Years ago.
years ago. Now they're finally doing it. And so, but I didn't know it was happening yet. He just wondered what was going on.
Okay, I'll make a note for strategic plan to talk about
there we go.
future park amenities.
Good.
And I'll likewise make that note.
Great.
Did just want to make one other comment if I could about the sidewalk situation on 6,000 West. With the addition of this expanded park, there isn't a sidewalk there. And I'm wondering where that would fall within the schedule of sidewalk. I would imagine it would be more critical now with children walking to that park.
I can answer that if you're okay, Mayor. I don't have a specific timeline answer, but that has been accelerated and is encompassed in a whole different project that I can have Dan run the details for you in an email and I'll have him send that out for you first thing. But that 6,000 West area certainly is an area of concern, has been for some time, and is part of a project that's in the works. So I'll have him detail all that information in an email to you as council.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, motion to approve 22-121.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second, and I'll turn it to Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hume,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We have no need for a closed session tonight. I just want to thank everyone for coming out or being on Zoom, and we just have one motion left.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.